upgrades on Lings, which we saw in that last game or the first game, or you can go for really fast Muta and try to harass and take a third or take the map behind that. So Zerg does have some options.
Zerg definitely does have some options as Game 6 now getting underway. A rather long Wednesday night StarCraft here as we now see the Suki spawning as I believe the pink Zerg here at what I'll call the 3 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Proxima spawning as the orange Terran here at the 12 o'clock position.
And we should mention that Convergence Gaming is up 3-2 in this clan war. So Daisuke has his work cut out for him, has to win 2 games in a row to come back for vVv. And also these two teams have played twice on Wednesday Night StarCraft so far, and it is 1-1. So Convergence basically 1 game away from not only winning this clan war, but also sort of putting themselves up ahead of vVv in the series of clan wars as well.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen as Daisuke now doing an interesting scouting path here on the map, deciding to fly almost due north and then going to hug the top to figure out where his opponent has actually spawned. Daisuke now moving out with the second Overlord pretty much due south, and if he doesn't find out where his opponent is, he may perhaps build his hatchery a little bit too soon. We'll figure out what these strategies will be as this game is now underway.
I think this is an interesting decision because, like you said, he could find out a little bit earlier where his opponent is, but if his build isn't dictated based off knowing, 10 seconds earlier, then moving this Overlord into position and sort of hiding it, definitely a smart move. And we see if he's able to throw down this hatchery on 16 or whenever he's going to throw it down, probably doesn't cost him anything at all. So maybe this is something we'll see from more Zerg players, and he doesn't give away his position as well if Proxima was to send an SCV over there.
Yeah, so you can see that the SCVs do not spot that Overlord. The Overlord's like, yeah, I see your gas, I see you mining your minerals. I pretty much know exactly what I'm gonna do, and I'm just gonna now leave this Overlord, park it outside, as we now see an SCV coming in from Proxima. Proxima didn't do that little sweep with the SCV, but he will still find his opponent relatively quickly. All that trickery, all for naught.
Well, at least he does hide an Overlord up there, so a lot of times if Terrans see the Overlord go up there, they'll lift up a barracks or they'll make sure that they take it down at the first opportunity. But if you don't realize that it's there, maybe it'll stay alive a little bit longer. But Dasuki is getting gas up after this pool, so he will have speed to deal with any sort of early rush shenanigans. But we do see the factory coming down from Proxima, so I imagine we will be seeing those double Hellions. We'll see if the reactor comes out in just a second.
Yeah, so apparently this night or today in Wednesday night StarCraft, it's the Terran versus Zerg, 4 games out of 6 so far.
Yeah,
As we now see drones trying to engage. One drone low on hit points, trying to run away. Looks down like he's down to 1 hit point, but the drones may be able to finish off that Marine there as the Marine got a little bit over eager. Drones now pulling away. Double Queens are being trained. No Zerglings as of yet. As no, Zerglings now going to perhaps come in from behind. One drone is low on hit points. Zerglings are perhaps going to be able to clean this up. It looks like one drone was lost, but at the cost of an SCV and 2 Marines.
yeah, decent trade there by Dasuki, and he was able to save that one drone I thought was going to go down, and now he's looking a little bit healthier in the orange back in the main. But we do see that swap and that land of the factory on that reactor, so double Hellions coming out, and this would be about the time I would expect a spine crawler to go down or a third queen to be started. So we'll see how Dasuki chooses to defend this. He does have lings across the map, but they have yet to poke up the ramp.
Yeah, we also see an overlord, or sorry, not, like queens now. What? Yeah. An overlord has parked itself on the top left-hand side. Let me talk about that for a second. So he will know when that third base is established. The Roach Warren is also coming into play, and a Roach Warren being added instead of adding the spine crawler on the low ground. A very interesting strategy by Daisuke, as Daisuke now moving all of his drones off of the natural expansion, knowing that the Hellions are going to arrive.
Yeah, and the Roach is going to sort of delay this defense for a little bit, so that's going to cost Tasuki some valuable mining time. He is going to lose one drone there, but he's not going to invest in a third queen yet, and he's not going to invest in a spine crawler. Instead, he's going to have these roaches, and he might be able to actually counter and put a little bit of pressure on his opponent once he does defend this. So just 4 roaches on the way at the moment. We'll see whether he creates any more. It looks like it's going to be follow-up drones.
Yeah, so one Roach is out. One Roach now trying to battle it out, but that Roach is all by itself. Even though Roaches are fairly effective against Hellions, those numbers are definitely not in favor as Dasuki now being forced to pull back with that Roach. More Roaches turning around, gonna engage again as the Roaches looking to perhaps deal more damage and perhaps just defend the mineral line as we are now going into Cloaked Banshees.
Nice. You know, we've talked about it before in a game like this. Proxima his team is up. He's got two opportunities to knock off the same player. So going for a strategy like this definitely, I think, is a good gamesmanship play because he's got an opportunity to end the game in, 4 or 5 minutes as soon as that first Cloak Banshee does come out.
Yeah, so as soon as that Cloak Banshee is out, we'll see what's going to happen. Right now, no Banshees are yet on the field, and no Banshee has been trained. So the
He's supply
cloaking...
locked.
Yeah, he was supply blocked, so it looked like he was researching the cloak well before the Banshee was ever in the skies. Orbital Command is now landed, or has landed at the natural expansion, and we do not see an evolution chamber from Dasuki, and he may not be expecting cloaked Banshees at all.
Yeah, Cloak gonna finish well before the first Banshee, but Dasuki actually has a lot of harvesters. He could, I never want to say you can afford to lose drones, but he could afford to lose about 10 right now and still be in decent position compared to his opponent. Like you said, he doesn't have an evolution chamber done quite yet, and he doesn't have lair, so actually just lair starting now. So it's going to be very difficult to defend against this first Banshee as it comes in cloaked.
Yeah, Dasuki comes in with the Overlord. He does speed the Banshee out. He notices that the Tech Lab is no longer spinning. He needs to get some Evolution Chambers up. A second Banshee now being added. We are also getting up to Layer Tech. Hellions just sitting on the creep as now in comes the Banshee, the Spore Crawler. There's the Cloak. Damage is being dealt. One drone will go down. Perhaps 2 or 3 drones will go down in total. Actually, no, it looks like 5. Wow, this Banshee getting up a lot of kills already up to 6. The energy is starting to run low. The Spore Crawler is now out. Damage is being dealt, pushing that Banshee away down to 9 energy, which is the key number here. And there is a Queen already in position. One drone, is it going to fall? The Queen already there. Queen battling up against a Banshee that's already low on hit points. And what is going to happen as the Banshee knows that there's pretty much nothing that the Queen can do off of creep.
So it looks like 13 drone kills so far, so pretty decent. And now these Banshees going to be doing damage against these Roaches, so it takes a lot of hits, but without Queen sort of covering and defending, he's using these Banshees to the max, and he's just got so many Hellions as well. If he does like a run-by here with Hellions, I'm not sure there's enough Roaches on the field to really clean up the Hellions before they can do fatal damage.
Yeah, the one Banshee, now 2 Banshees joining in on the fight. The Queens have to be careful. The Queens need to pull back, perhaps move that Spore Crawler around a little bit more as the Roaches now going after or trying to absorb damage as the Queens now just launching those Needle Spines. And in comes the Cloak, getting in more damage again. There is an Overseer turning around. Damage is going to be dealt. One Banshee may get taken out. There's a Scanner Sweep as well. Transfusion now coming in as the Overseer needs to keep up with the rest of this army. The Banshee down to 14 hit points, and it looks like it will be able to run back home.
So Dasuki in a pretty decent position at this point, especially because his unit composition in Roaches really counters the ground army for Proxima, who has all Hellions at this point. So Dasuki could actually put some nice counter pressure if he pumped out Roaches. It looks like he is supply blocked, 4 Overlords coming out, so he maybe could do a Roach pump, but right now he is just working on these destructible rocks. He's going to be getting up a 3rd and a Hydra Den coming out, so interesting decisions. We hardly ever see Hydras in TVZ.
Yeah, Hydras in TVZ is one of those things where you say, wait, am I in Brood War? No, you are not in Brood War. This is StarCraft. This is Wings of Liberty. Banshee is now taking on the Destructible Rocks over here at the gold. Hellions doing a lot of damage as well. And what's going to be interesting is that Hellions are actually pretty effective against Hydralisks. So yeah, it's really going to come down to positioning, who has the better army, and which units are attacking what. If the Roaches are attacking the Hellions and the Hydralisks are attacking the Banshees, and then you have the Banshees attacking the wrong units and the Hellions attacking the wrong units, it can go south very, very quickly.
The other thing is these Banshees still have Cloak, so unless an Overseer or 2 comes with these Hydras, they're not going to be very good offensively. They can defend, of course, but yeah, we'll have to see. That Cloak can often come into play in the mid and late game, just be really annoying.
Hydralisks are now trying to come in. There is one Cloak. No, the Cloak has engaged. One Hydralisk down, two Hydralisks down. Overseer's now coming in. And the Banshee, two Banshees for three Hydralisks. A very good trade as the Hydralisks do attack relatively, or move relatively quickly, and almost got off another shot on the Banshee, almost taking it down. No Groove Spine upgrades, and that could have been it. Queen now going to engage Roaches. Queen's what's going to be happening here. Queen is accidentally off a creep. Hydralisks are going to fall. Roach is now pushing in, and there's the counterattack in the center of the map.
I actually think, I mean, Hellions do decent against Hydras, but Hydras actually have enough HP to survive a few shots from those Hellions, and I think in any sort of encounter at this point, Dasuki his unit composition is actually superior just because the Hellions do so little damage to those Roaches.
We'll see what's going to be transitioning in next from Dasuki. Dasuki going into Roach Hydra play, getting level 1 missile attack, and also level 2 armor. So,
Drops.
yeah, where? Ooh.
Oh, he does have speed, and he's got Overlord drop, so I have a feeling he's going to pump out some units, and then we're going to see a Doom drop into the main of Proxima.
But Proxima does have some missile turrets set up. It's really going to come down to where it is all going to load up as Dasuki just tormenting us, walking underneath Overlords with Roaches and Hydralisks, but not really deciding to attack.
Missile turrets don't... Overlords don't care about missile turrets, Crota. They're no big deal. They've got 200 life. They can drop their whole payload before the missile turrets bother them.
Oh, the barracks are going to spot this. Hydralisks are now, Roaches and Hydralisks are all now moving away. It is going to be a Doom drop. We have a large number of Roaches already coming in here. As long as one of those Overlords that does not have any payload gets attacked first, and yes, it is, as Dasuki now going to start dropping all of these units here. This is going to turn the tides as Roaches are just inside the base. Marines, Hellions now trying to make their way around. Thor's bottlenecking the ramp as the Roaches are still unloading here. There is one Banshee in this group. The Overseer finally joining in on the fight. There are enough Thors, though, and that is, what, 8 Thors against these units here. Hellions battling it out. Who's going to come out ahead? Hydralisks are not good against Thors, and Dasuki losing his main attack force.
He is, but he cleaned up all of those Hellions, and I think Proxima, I mean, he does have 4 factories, so he wants to be building Thors at this point, and maybe even tanks, swapping over to tanks, but instead he's going to have to spend valuable time remaking all those Hellions.
Roach is now looking to push in onto the gold. They are upgraded 1. Will be able to deal some damage. However, there are some Banshees here as well. The Roaches do move faster than Banshees. But Terran tech doesn't fly very fast as the Roach is able to scamper around on the ground. And now we'll see what these Roaches are going to do against these Thors. The SCVs are over to repair. The Thors definitely need armor upgrades. And this is one of those strange situations where Roaches can do well against Thors if they focus fire, and they really do need a focus fire in order to win out on this fight. More Overlords. Oh, another Overlord gonna perhaps get shot down. A full Overlord has been destroyed, and now all the Zerglings are backing off.
Yeah, and Thors are a unit where if there's a few of them as Zerg, you don't really care. Once there starts to be 10 Thors, it's really tough to deal with.
Yeah,
Proxima is getting to that big number, and we see a huge encounter here. Dasuki doing his best to try to thin out that Thor number, and the Thors were not all present. A lot of them were still in that main, and Dasuki doing a nice job of focusing these Thors down one at a time. Still, these Banshees are cloaked. They're doing work on all these units, but a decent trade here for Dasuki. It's going to take so much longer to remake these Thors compared to how fast he can get Roaches out.
Yeah, so now we are down to 2 Thors. Now we're down to 3 Thors as more Thors are still being trained. The Mutalisks no Mutalisks at all, as the Banshees are pretty much owning the skies. And that was a complete exchange. Roaches for Thors, and I don't really know who came out ahead.
Well, I think it just takes so long to make Thors, and compared to Roaches, maybe economy-wise it was pretty even, or maybe even worse for the Zerg, but in terms of production, it's going to take a long time to replace those Thors, especially, I'm not sure he's able to really afford it at the moment, and also he has no Hellions out anymore. He had to replace all of those like we talked about before, so just constant trades here I think really do work out for Dasuki.
Roaches are now engaging against Thors once again. There are some Zerglings as well. Hydralisks are going to finish off the Banshee, and now the gold may end up falling. There is a Thor over nearby. The Banshees need to focus down that, or need to get focused down. It looks like it is going to get focused down. There it goes. Roach is now battling up against more SCVs as mules are being called in order to repair. Those are not manor mules. Those are, in fact, tactical mules trying to save that Thor. The Thor down to 100 hit points does get taken out. And Dasuki now with a very, very impressive attack force inside the main base of Proxima. Looks like he will be able to run rabid inside the base as the SCVs are now trying to be on the defense.
And there's the GG. Dasuki gonna force a game 7 here in Wednesday Night StarCraft. So we're going to the end, and back and forth all night long. Players will win a game and then immediately lose. And Proxima had a decent game last game, but in this one, I feel like that exchange for Dasuki just so smart. He took down all those Thors. It's so difficult to create just a ton of Thors at once, even if you do have that many factories, and the constant trades with the small groups of units really worked out for the Zerg player.